أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. So we have been studying this text where the author was trying to find a solution for his problems, for his ills. We read this long text once. This is the third week that we will be discussing about. If we can finish it, then we will get to the next part. So the entry suggestion was just, I am going to reread the first paragraph to remember what the text was about. O my sustainer, heedlessly not trusting in you, but in my own power and will, I cast an eye over the six aspects, searching for a cure for my ills, for my problems. Alas, I could find no cure for them, and I understood it was being said to me, are your ills, are your problems not sufficient as cure for you? This was how he initially started. Then he was looking for his past, his future, his self, his ancestors, his nation and whatnot, trying to find some sort of a solution for his problems. And we talked about this. Everybody has problems in their lives. Sometimes we say, oh, I am coming from a, strong family or strong nation, or I have a good bank account, or I am strong, whatever. We are trying to find some sort of a solution that's going to ease our problems, that's going to give me some satisfaction to say that you're safe, you're good. That's what author did, and he could find no satisfactory solution after looking at six directions. Then he also realized that above all, there seems only to be a single thing that is at his hand, with which he can fight with those problems, and that is a small will or choice. That's all he has. Then on the other hand, he has infinite needs. So this choice, which doesn't create anything, it can only choose something. On the other hand, he needs everything and he doesn't have any power. So how am I going to cope with this? This was the problem. So he is realizing his existential neediness, existential weakness as a human being. If you think about it, it's like a doomed position. You realize that you're doomed in here. So how do I deal with this? This was his question. This is where we were left. We sort of talked about the answer a little bit, but since this part is possibly getting a little confused, I would like to make sure that we are on the same page on here, and then continue with the next part if we are on the same page. So I am starting to read from page 227. So he talked about human needs everything. And then the paragraph starts by saying, but then. And if somebody can read us the remaining part of this text really quick. The other microphone is with you, brother. Yeah. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahmed can read it to us. But then, did you find it? Yeah.
But then the extent of his power extends only as far as his short arm reaches. That means my want and needs are as great as the world, whereas my capital is as infinitesimal as an indivisible particle. So of what use is the faculty of will, worth 2 pence, in relation to my needs which encompass the world and can only be obtained for millions of liras? They cannot be bought with it and cannot be gained by it, in which case one has to search for another solution. The solution is this: to forego one's own will and leave matters to the divine will, to give up one's own power and strength, and seeking refuge in the power and strength of Almighty God, to adhere to true reliance on Him. O my sustainer, since the way to be saved is this, I forego my own will in your way, and I give up my egotism. Then your grace may take me by hand out of compassion for my impotence and weakness, and your mercy may take pity on my need and indigence, and be a support for me and open its door for me. Yes, whoever finds the boundless sea of mercy surely does not rely on his own mirage like will and choice. He does not abandon mercy and have recourse to his will. Alas, we have been deceived. We supposed the life of this world to be constant and so have lost everything. Yes, this passing life is but a sleep. It passes like a dream. This frail life flies like the wind and departs. Arrogant man who relies on himself and supposes he will live forever is doomed to die. He passes swiftly. The world, too, man's house, tumbles into the darkness of non existence. Hopes do not last while pains endure in the spirit. Since the reality is this, come, my wretched soul, which yearns for life, is enamored of the world and afflicted with endless hopes and pains. Awake and come to your senses. As the firefly relies on its own minuscule light and remains in the boundless darkness of the night. And since it does not rely on itself, the honeybee finds the sun of daytime and gazes on its friends, the flowers, gilded with the sunlight. If you rely on yourself and your being and your ego, you will resemble the firefly. Whereas if you sacrifice your transient being in the way of the Creator who gave it to you, you will find an unending light of existence. So sacrifice it. For your being is a trust given to you for safekeeping. Moreover, it is His property, and it is He who bestowed it. So do not scorn it, sacrifice it unhesitatingly. Sacrifice it so that it will be made permanent. For negation of a negation is an affirmation. That is, if non-being is not, there is being. If non-being is negated, existence comes into being. The all-generous Creator buys His own property from you and gives you the high price of paradise in return. Also, He looks after that property well for you and increases its value, and He will return it to you in both enduring and perfect form. O my soul, do not delay. Do this trade, which is profitable in 5 respects, and be saved from 5 losses. Make a 5-fold profit all at once.
Jazakallah khairan. So apparently this is the solution that author is suggesting for this, for any human problem, pretty much. But what does it mean theoretically? How does it become real practically? Let's try to talk about how to make it practical. Like, how can one forego his egotism and his choice and rely on God? What does this really mean? And how does it solve human problems? And if you have practical examples, I mean, it's clear what it does not mean, I assume. Like, it doesn't mean that don't make any choice from now on and leave everything to your wife and she's going to take care of everything, so you don't need to worry about it. So if I'm going to forego my choice and make God choose for me, what does this even mean? Like, shall I buy a Tesla or a Camry, or not buy a car at all? Because whatever you do is a choice, pretty much. So what does it mean to forego your choice? We know what it doesn't mean, but what does it mean? And how does it solve problems? Any practical suggestions? Okay, let's go with Atik, then Natalia.
I have a question. So is the full agency within the realm of the human being
Say it again.
full agency,
Full agency.
or is there influence from outside or from the creator?
Agency on choice, you mean?
Yeah. Is it are you being directed in a certain way, or is it fully your own reason or rationale of what decision to make?
Okay. Questions to the room, I guess.
Let me try to understand this question if you don't mind. Are you talking about how our choices are shaped by, let's say, society, our families? Is that what you mean with the external things? Okay.
Out there.
You did not get the question from ChatGPT, did you? Why are you checking your phone? Okay.
I have to read it.
Okay. Okay.
I'll ask again.
Okay.
To answer the initial question, this seems to me like another like a reiteration of a concept we've been, learning. I don't know, ever since I can remember, which is to like take off the burden that you might have on your shoulders of the outcome. Like I don't think this is saying don't choose or don't want something, but it's taking away that responsibility to make it happen, to create it, or to be responsible for it, right? Like I cannot get that promotion, or I cannot get that job. I can ask for it, and like my boss wouldn't give that promotion to me, would be Allah. So it's you can still make the choice. You can still make the choice to ask, to pray, to make dua, both verbally and in action. But the power does not lie within you.
Okay. I think we are on the right track. We are on the right track. So just to open it up, I mean, that was a very good point. So believe in yourself. Or any Disney movie pretty much gives this message, isn't it? Like, for example, what was it? Kung Fu Panda. Finds the scroll, and in the scroll opens up and it's a mirror. So you see yourself. So this is the secrets, whatever secret for being the master or masters or whatever. Like, believe in yourself. Is this a wrong message? Like, should you not believe in yourself? Like, is this the opposite, or is this the exact opposite of what the author is suggesting in here? Let's simplify it. No? Okay, now I think it's ready. Okay.
All right. So we're being like they're making two sort of worldviews, like where you rely on yourself or you rely on God. You have to make a choice where you rely on yourself or you rely on God. So in the process of making that choice, do you as an individual, do you bear that burden completely? Or is there, external forces that can help you decide on what to do?
Okay.
What is the basis of which you're making a decision?
Okay. So I think I see where that question is going. Good. Let's put it aside. Let's see that question, where that question goes. Because I mean, that question can work in multiple ways. One is, does my creator makes my choices, or am I really the chooser? Could be one way to take your question. Am I really choosing anything? Could be one question that you take. But author goes from experience, not top down, but bottom up. And he says, no matter what I give to the creator, there happens to be this indivisible particle. This is why he named it as such, which is me. Like, as long as I say me, then that means choice is mine. I am choosing. But when it comes to aiding factors for this choice, because I am trying to justify why shall I go with left or right? If your question is about this, then it's a secondary question, like in regards to, for instance, Birkan comes and says, Atik, don't buy this car. Well, actually, don't even start into this, what was it? Mortgage with your car. So that would be, for example, a guidance, an external guidance, which is there, a good one to affect your choice, which failed, I assume. Okay. So, okay. Did you also get the answer to your question out of this or not yet? I mean, there are such external factors. The messages come if, I mean, this is one way to answer, but I don't know what else.
No. I will take it from there where you stop. So, like you said, there are two alternatives according to text. Either you rely on yourself or you rely on God. So if you look at the text in more detail, like how the narration goes, author starts from a single option, actually. Author says, I have a problem, and only thing I can do, rely on myself. He starts with relying on himself. This is our reality. Let's not, try to pretend that we have these two choices. Should I rely on myself or should I rely on my God? We don't have such thoughts in our minds usually, right? I have to rely on myself. That's the only choice. That's the reality. And then what happens? Author tries to rely on himself. He says, okay, I can do this, I can do that. He tries all these options in his mind or in actuality, it doesn't matter. And then say that, no, none of them works. So what I'm going to do? He opens up the problem a bit again. And then he says, oh, it seems the fact that the understanding that I cannot do it is actually the beginning of a solution. And then he takes from there, reaching to another, not option, but maybe another state. So you start from a single option and you end up with a single conclusion. That's how text goes, to the extent I can understand. Otherwise, how it sounds, like we Muslims, we know that, there's God, we should rely on God. But relying on God, if we are honest to ourselves, doesn't mean much. We don't even mean what we say there, rely on God. Like I have a fight with my wife, and I don't know what to do. And Atik comes and tells me that rely on God. And what does it mean? What am I going to do? Like I buy a Quran and gift my wife the Quran, like relying on my God, or maybe call for adhan in front of her. And what do I mean with that? Or maybe I should fast, like stop talking to her, fast, right? Would it solve my problems? Really, what does it mean to rely on God? Author says, no, you start with relying on yourself. Try to find a solution. Try to make her happy. The moment you realize, sometimes we don't realize. Sometimes we are so stubborn. We say, okay, this time it worked. You see, I did this. I bought this such a gift. The next time I will buy the same gift. Like we trick ourselves, lie to ourselves. It worked. So I should continue this strategy. But the moment you are honest to yourself and realize that, no, it doesn't work. It cannot solve your problems, then solution starts showing its, the hand. I think that's the way text is formulated.
Jazakallah khairan.
So
Tell us, inshallah, what we should do.
I don't know what to do. I'm just a little confused because before when we discussed, we said that all what we have is our choice. Like we're not doing anything. We're just presented by choices, and then we're just like choosing from these choices. So now even that choosing part is not mine. Like I don't understand why I shouldn't rely. Like for me, of course, the outcome is not is something I cannot control. But like I thought like I should like, when we said, for example, I don't know which muscles move here, but I only have the will to move my arm, right? Now, of course, God is like by what we call like the divine will, the divine order, that this is how things this is how God creates things. But like I have the choice to move my arm. I just, don't know like which muscles I have to move. So, but I feel like now we're saying even that choice is not mine. Like in so many things, you don't control who like the people you meet in life, right? That's something created for you. But then I guess, the only thing you can choose is whether to talk to them or not. You don't control how the speech is gonna come out, but the idea is that you have the will to talk, and God creates that speech. No, isn't that what we discussed before? Maybe I misunderstood, but I still I feel like the only thing we had was our choice, and that's what we will be judged for, I guess. And something that can influence our choices is that what we talked about, like when I want to make a choice, am I making an educated choice about, let's say, asking myself, what would the Prophet, like when we discussed the Sunnah, what would the Prophet do in this situation? And that's how I will make my choice. But it's still my choice, and that's how I will be judged for it, because it is mine. No? That was my question.
Jazakallah khair. Very good, very nice question. And can we reread one paragraph again? Let's try to understand. The solution is this. So this is what he is suggesting as a solution. That's a paragraph in 227, somewhere around the middle. The solution is this: to forego one's own will and leave matters to the divine will, to give up one's own power and strength, and seeking refuge in the power and strength of Almighty God, to adhere to true reliance on Him. One is sort of an explanation of the other. Like, what does it mean that I forego my choice? Because, as we said, this doesn't make sense. You cannot. But then, as if the second part of the sentence is saying, to give up one's own power and strength. Because in reality, you already realize that you don't have any strength. And you realize that your only thing at your hand is choice. Then you start imagining a power in your choice. Like, I am going to make the correct choice, and I will design a good future so that things are going to get aligned well. This is where my strength is. I feel like my choices are going to create a good future, or this is how I'm going to make a difference. With my choices, I'm going to make a difference in the outcome. Still, I consider myself as an engineer, or I have a say. But does my choice, like what is the effect of my choice? So what I understand from here, foregoing choice is realize that your choices are not to create anything. You're over-imagining, overestimating your choice. Your choice is not given to you for that purpose. Your choice is given to you for a different purpose. Like Sister Zaha last week was making a comment saying that choice is sort of a dua, realizing that your choice is nothing but a dua. On the other hand, imagine a commander. A commander is also making a choice, right? Commander says, walk to the army, and the entire army walks. Still, it's just making a word out of his mouth, but at the end, the commander is being hailed as the victor, like he won the whole war with his choices. He didn't do anything other than choosing, but he's the victor. I might be having the same illusion as well. In this life, I navigated life so well, I made so good choices that I ended up being the best of the believers. So belief is my outcome, sort of. So is this how I am taking my choice? Because as Brother Birkan was highlighting, in the first setup, when he was going through his relying on himself, he realized that only thing at your hand is this choice. And in its essence, choice is just, it doesn't create anything. This is your reality. Yet I pretend as if, no, still my choices do create something. So this is the part. We are overloading or changing the meaning that we give to this choice. Still, I am choosing. Choice is with me. But what this choice does is different now. I used to think that this choice is able to move the mountains or armies or whatever. Now, I feel like as if this choice is there only to move my heart from here to there. Like this choice is there just to change my orientation towards things.
So an example came to my mind. In our previous place, like the house previously we lived in 3 years ago, doesn't matter. We planted a small tree, like a very small tree with beautiful pink red flowers. You can still go and see it if you want. It was small at that time. We're watering it regularly because when we planted it was a really bad choice of season. We planted it in a very dry, the summertime. So we watering it all the time. And then we decided to move on. I'm carrying all the, the furniture, everything to the new house. And I visited there last time because there were a few things left. He would know. You have to go there again because there were a few things left. So I will take them. This is the last day of the lease, so I have to do it. Anyway, I took them on my way, and I'm walking to the new house. On my way, I'm thinking about this tree. And I clearly remember I was so anxious, so sad. I'm saying that, like, who will take care of this tree now if I don't water it? What will happen to it? Because I knew that usually, the people who rent places, they don't care about trees and the flowers. And I was sure that nobody will take care of it. The landlord, he doesn't care at all. It will die. I was so sure. I went home either that night or the next morning. It started raining so heavily. And it was like a very big click in my mind. Oh, he will take care of it, right? So, and now it is like 4 times bigger than we planted. Too many flowers. Every time we pass, my wife says, "Oh, I'm so jealous. I will go and take it back." So he really took care of it much better. But then the question is, but I was watering it. Like, was it for nothing? Because it was so dry when we planted it. And you realize that, the care or the risk bounty will reach to this tree one way or another. and you make a choice of being part of it. You say, okay, I will be part of this, the blessing distribution, so that I can enjoy it myself as well. Right? So that was my choice. But I thought, so when we say our choice doesn't create anything, we say, of course, everybody knows that our choice doesn't create it, like don't create everything, right? But to me, I truly believe that my choice of watering it was keeping it alive. I really believe that. How I know that? Through the trouble. As author said, I had a trouble and then realized that trouble was a cure for myself. Realizing that it was not my choice that creating the life. Right? So what is the difference? After that day, I mean, it will change, of course, for sure, like in a year or so, maybe even shorter. I will forget about all these. But so far, I still keep watering things. I have more plans. But at least I know that I'm not carrying the burden anymore. I'm not doing anything. I'm just enjoying the creation. So another example, like we open these cartoons, the children. There are many cartoons there. It's like a band, and you select one of them. Which one do you want to watch? And she says, I want to watch this, and you click, and it plays. If she is not that clever, right, she will start getting anxious about everything that brings this cartoon to her. She will say, oh, what happens if the charge goes out? What happens if the internet is not there? I have to make sure that the tablet is connected to the charger. I have to make sure the modem is, the on. I have to make sure this and that and so on. She will start living the moment with such feelings, right? But in reality, the creation was that so that she will just sit, watch, and enjoy. That's all I think. All you need to do. And now we have to watch this. That's the only thing you need to do. Sit, watch, make a choice. Choice is just, which one you're going to enjoy. There is someone else, in this example, the father, who will take care of everything. I will bring this cartoon to you. Don't worry. Just look at the thumbnail and select the one you like. So this example sounds a little caricaturistic, but in real life, we do live our lives this way. So I have a few friends, so it's easier to see from the outside usually. A few friends in my workplace, they are so detail-oriented. They have to make all these choices because they truly believe that all this choice creates the output. You can see it. They go crazy. Oh, I have to write this in the introduction, otherwise the reviewer will think this way. Or I have to do a title in this way, or otherwise editor will think it this way, and so on. Like over strategizing everything. Why? Because if you ask them, they will give you the very nice justification, just like you can do. Oh, come on, Birkan, I have to choose something, right? I have to make the educated choice there. Yes, this is true. But you could have making these choices just to enjoy, to learn something new, but instead you are making these choices to burden yourself. So the author says you will continue making choices. There's no escape from there. But instead of making choice to create things, which you cannot, hence you will be devastated by the outcome. Instead of doing that, make the choice so that you enjoy the shore. and everything else, he will take care of it. That's the reality anyway, he says. Don't try to bend it and fool yourself, just like I did with the tree. Enjoy it.
Let's talk about an example. Kids. So you have kids, and about their education, you need to make choices. So shall I give them to this school, that school? Who they should befriend? What sort of an environment shall I have? Like, these are very legitimate questions that any parent will go through. And you will make those choices. Like, shall I send it to this Islamic school or this Penn Alexander? Is going to be a legit question that you have to answer at some point. But when I am making this choice, I can make the same choice. In both, the outcome should be the same, by the way. In both, I can both choose to send it to Islamic school, let's say. Let's not make it in one you will search Islamic, in the other you're going to choose Penn Alexander. No. In both cases, you're going to choose Islamic school, let's assume. But in one, I am saying that I am a smart person. I make all the calculations, and I'm strategizing well. I'm saying that, look, this happens. If this happens, then that would happen. I don't want my child to be doing this or that. So I have to think well, decide everything. And then even after I send my child, I'm going to be still having a lot of question marks in my head. What if? There's also going to be a lot of what ifs. And if, let's say, somehow child fails in classes or something, and then my wife would come and say, see what I told you? I told you we should have sent him to Penn Alexander. You thought you were so smart. So you foresee that this would happen. Oh, how about this? And now I am feeling the burden double because I really failed. I strategized and things didn't go as I planned. So my mathematics didn't work, and she is right. Now I am feeling so down because I was not as smart as I thought. You should listen to your wife, yeah. And then there's this other way of doing it. The other way is, my creator is creating me in an environment and puts choices before me as a learning experience of his mercy, his wisdom, his justice, and him being the provider, sustainer. He puts, and again, I make a calculation. So I say advantages, disadvantages. And then I could say, and again, I'm not saying that this is the ideal case, but to the extent that I understand from this text, I'm saying that, oh, my creator, to the extent that you taught me, it looks like this is a proper choice. I'm choosing to send the child to, again, let's say the Islamic school. Child fails in the class. Now, what would be the outcome? In the first one, when I was choosing to send the Islamic school, my position would not be to guarantee his future. My position is, for my creator, I am sending this child to here because I would like to seek your mercy, because I don't want this child to be this way, that way, whatever. But the result is yours. This is my dua. I am saying that the rest is all yours. I make my dua. My choice is my dua, nothing more. Child fails in the class. Same thing happens. Now, assuming that I and my wife made this choice as such, neither one of us will blame each other, because we would say, we don't have any control over outcome anyways, and neither does our choice. So whatever was shown best to us, assuming that we did this choice with sincerity and being conscious as highlighted in here, I would say this is now our creator's outcome, his choice. Whatever comes from him, I'm okay with it. I'm going to now, because this outcome is giving you another option to make another choice, meaning another dua. So in this case, I'm not carrying the burden on my shoulders. And every moment, every choice simply becomes, as Brother Birkan was saying, an option for getting to learn about your creator or interacting with your creator. In the first one, every choice is a fight between me and the universe, because I'm going to take an optimal strategy to position myself so well that I'm going to protect my skin. That's the distinction. In both, I make choice, but the nature of my choice is different, and its implication in me is different. In one, I am the engineer. In the other, I am just a supplicator. I am the one who makes dua, nothing more. So you will make choice. Choices are with you again, but the word choice now means very different for you.
I just have one more question, like for what Brother Burkan was saying about his like detailed oriented colleagues. I feel like it's hard to, because like the end, like the only thing that changes is what Brother Yusuf was saying, how you would feel about the outcome. You know, you can feel that it's the will of Allah. You did your, you know, you supplicated, and that's what was given to you. But I think in your, like in the case that you brought up is more like, I would feel like maybe I did not supplicate enough. Like if I wasn't as detailed, you know, like if, let's assume your colleague is a Muslim, right? And he's trying his best to publish the paper, or I don't know, to do this presentation or something. Or even simpler example, like someone's studying for an exam, right? They have to study, let's say 15 hours a day. And then maybe they would say, oh, I should study 16. Like I should supplicate, not because they want to control the outcome, because they can take it as I can supplicate more, you know, like I can solve one more math problem before, like, because like you can go to the exam and then you'll see this thing like something you didn't go through while studying, and you would say, oh my God, I didn't study enough. But you could also say, oh my God, I didn't supplicate enough. Like I feel like there's you know, is other than the wording, like what you're doing is kind of the same, right?
When the examples are about other people, it's really hard to, you know, navigate. So with my example, for instance, the tree and Birkan, you wouldn't say about Birkan it was possible just to water it without, you know, taking the burden, etc. Just take it as a supplication. Yes, it is a possibility, but I didn't do it. And I knew it firsthand. So when the example is about you, everything is so clear. You know why you are doing it. You know how you feel about it. You know whether you feel the burden or not, right? So with others, yes, it could be like because they are supplicating more maybe, and great for them. But the way you experience, and you are part of this experience, like you work with them, etc. In this hypothetical example, at least, the people are not taking it as a supplication. Like another example, let's say I like, if it's gold, it will be too expensive. And yeah. I like cooking, okay? And if you cook it, let's say without taking care of, like without putting much care, I would get angry with you. I would say, I'm not angry, but let's say upset. I go, wait a minute, yes. Like, what are you doing? Yes, it's at the end just to fill our stomach, but you should at least put some, you know, love in it, I would say. Like what spices you choose, what temperature you know, to cook it, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think everything in the universe is created within an order. Right? There is an order out there, and I should follow it to the extent I can. But if you see me turning on the gas and then waiting, you know, the exact temperature to arrive, putting a special like a thermometer to the fire, and say that no, wait, we have to wait a few, you know, minutes more, and then put the pan, do the same thing with the pan. I say no, we have to wait because it has to be perfect temperature, right? Put the ingredients, and you put some spices. I say, what did you do? Like you put 2 I don't know, 0.5 ounces more than you should have, right? I start doing all this, you would know that I'm not supplicating, right? You would say, Bikram, you just went crazy. Yes, you should, of course, follow an order, but that what you are doing is attributing creation to the fire and the spice. In another example, maybe you should follow me like let's say, a more balanced order. Yes, if you are working in a nanotechnology, for instance, right? You should follow the more, the detailed order. But when it comes to food, there's a limit, right, of the supplication. There should be limit, and you would know it, unless with these crazy examples. So again, with my colleagues, yes, maybe they are believers and supplicating, but this is at least not what they manifest or make us feel.
So kind of how that question was phrased, like, should I be seeing the answer to my supplication as like a function of how much I've supplicated? Like, the more I supplicate, the more it's answered. Like, if I treat it that way, then I'm kind of attributing some power to that supplication again, right? It's going like in circles, coming back to the same sort of understanding that we started with. But then the question becomes, so knowing that, I think for my understanding, how I would then phrase the question is what difference does supplicating make? Because God gives to whom he wills and withdraws from whom he wills. But why am I then supplicating? And I can attempt to answer it. Obviously, I think it's a journey getting to know like why we're doing supplication, what we are oftentimes you feel prompted to. One of the things being, I feel like supplication is the means to relieve this burden that the author started with, talking about how we do feel it, and we do feel like we want to rely on ourselves, but because we can't, discovering that the only choice you can make is supplication, that ultimately is a means for trusting in God. But I can't, if I start to see it as like, oh, the more I supplicate, the more chances, like increasing my chances against like getting something, like I feel like that's the wrong approach. It's taking us back to the same starting.
So let's make a test on this. Okay. So I can ask the question in two different ways. Like, since people in here are at the age of marriage, your parents are concerned about you getting married, right? If your mom or dad goes to Hajj, and their purpose of going to Hajj is so that my son or daughter gets married, what would you say about the piety of this Hajj? Is it for the sake of God, or is it for the sake of son getting married? Like, would it be a pious worship, or is it just like a bargaining with God? I'll give you worship, you will give me a son-in-law. Or take it another way, you submitted a paper, and then you start praying tahajjud. For whose sake is this tahajjud? Right? So I'm just making it in so unrelated dua, just to make it clear. You would say that tahajjud is to be made for the sake of God, not for the journal paper to get accepted. At best, journal paper could be an occasion in which you realize your neediness and leverage it as an opportunity to remember for yourself and do tahajjud. But tahajjud is now you and your creator together. Like, you are going to ask from your creator, and the very fact that you're able to pray is what you get. The ability to pray is the outcome. You already got it. You getting journal publication accepted or not becomes irrelevant in this regard.
And if it's not accepted, you even pray more.
which means it would serve your purpose more. Because the purpose is to get to know your creator, not to get the paper published. It is just an occasion. If tahajjud is for the paper to get published, then that worship is not worthy to get accepted, in fact, because it's a worldly worship, as if I'm trying to trick the creator. Now, take it to writing this extra sentence. Now that let's get it closer to paper publication. I am writing this sentence or solving one more math problem and taking it as a worship. If I'm truly taking it as a worship, I mean, I don't know if any of us are there. I mean, that much integrated our togetherness with our creator to our jobs. May Allah make it as such, but let's assume we are. Because Imam Nursi gives examples of this for some like Muslim kings from past, which fought with Mongols, because Mongols were invading Islamic world, and then Harzam Shahs were fighting with him. So he gives an example of Jalaluddin Harzam Shah, a king back then. So he says his viziers came to Jalaluddin and said that you are going to be victorious before Mongols. His response is, Nursi reports, his response is, my duty is to fight. Result is not mine. It is his will. If he gives success, if he gives failure, it is up to him. It's none of my business, sort of. My worship is this, fight. The outcome, because I do want the outcome to be this way or that way, but maybe, again, for the purpose of my creation, realizing my neediness, my imperfection, failing serves this purpose better. So this is why he responds my question of, I write the perfect paper, and creator responds with a rejection to make me realize that I am imperfect. That serves the purpose of me being better than that paper getting accepted. Because if paper gets accepted, I will start feeling like, it looks like I have something, man. Like I started learning the deal, right? So you never know, because we feel like sometimes we are mixing, and by we, I mean humans' desires, wants to be successful, yet I say that I am also Muslim. Yeah, I am Muslim, but is all my feelings Muslim? Meaning, is all my feelings submitted to that truth? Some of my feelings are still being super arrogant. Like my tongue uttering Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah doesn't mean that all my faculties utter this shahada. And this is why we are given this life. We are experiencing with different aspects. We are failing. And this is why Prophet ﷺ would say, renew your iman with la ilaha illallah. Like if it was a one-time job, you just say it, you attend one discussion. After the discussion, let's say together, Ashhadu an la, and then we are done, right? It doesn't work like this. So this is why I think Sister Zaha's point is very to the point. I think it's answering your question, right? Any other comments, questions? Yes, Atik.
From the perspective of, you make your choice and you rely on God, and you leave up the outcome to God. Can you make a wrong, and from that perspective or from that world mindset, can you make a wrong choice because you're just relying on God? How can you, either way, right? You can rely on God. You make the right choice or a wrong choice. And if you rely on God, is it either of them the wrong choice?
So what would be a wrong choice in this case, right? In this paradigm, what would be a wrong choice? Because now the wrongness of the choice does not really rely on whether it is Islamic school. So it doesn't rely on whether it is Islamic school that you choose or Penn Alexander that you choose. Wrongness is not relying on with what orientation I am choosing. Is my choice going to create an effect, or is my choice is a dua? So as long as your choice is a dua in this regard, realizing that when I choose, I do nothing but ask from my creator, then it then becomes a proper choice. Because you're like, how do you choose to choose in a sense? Like your choice becomes a choice when you're choosing. Do I choose it as my choice is going to make a change, or do I choose it as it's asking from my creator? Meaning of choice is changing.
Example day. Another example. I'm getting ready for a promotion. It didn't happen. No, it didn't happen. So this it didn't happen. So that's the reason they're telling it. Otherwise, I know what it will cost. At that time, I'm preparing for promotion and I'm making choices, right? I'm talking to all the right people. I'm talking to this person because I know that he controls this. I'm talking to that person. I know that it controls that. And then she controls this, she controls that, whatever, right? And it's not like I'm just, telling this to give an example. This is truly how I felt. I can't remember. And then everybody is assuring me that it will happen because my CV is in the right shape. So reliance on people, there. Reliance on my CV, there. Okay? And then a few times I make dua, like, oh my God. God is there too. Everything is checked, right? Everybody's sure that it will happen. Alhamdulillah, it didn't. Completely different reasons. Nobody, would expect. Like a provost changed. Just like there were 2-3 people were going through the same process. Everybody went through the process with the old provost. When it comes to mine, the provost changed, and he said, you know what? I will apply this rule going forward. Doesn't matter. It didn't happen. I was upset, of course, but within this sadness, I was like, it's like, in the movies, just before you die, all your life, you see in front of you. Within the sadness, everything is passing by, right? The way I talk to this guy, this lady, prepare my CV, my dossier, everything is in front of me. And I said, all these choices were wrong choices. I wish I made the right choices with the same outcome. But at least I wouldn't feel that guilty, right? And the guilt is not something, external. It's because I know that was wrong. Within this sadness, again, as author said, I found my cure at that moment. Next week, I start strategizing again. But for this week, I said, Alhamdulillah, this happened. Now all my burden lifted. So yeah, there are wrong choices, but not based on the outcome.
Jazakumullah khairan. Any other comments or questions?
I have another example too. It's a story about Prophet Musa. I've heard it a couple of times. Not sure about the authenticity of it, but the way it goes is that Prophet Moses, he got sick, and he tried some medicine and he didn't get well, so he went to Koyatur and he asked Allah that this is a pain I have. What should I do? And Allah said, go to this place and there's this tree, eat those leaves, and that will cure you. So Prophet Musa went there, he ate the leaves, and the pain went away. So later on, he got the same pain again. And he went to the tree again. He got the same leaves again. He ate the leaves, but the pain doesn't go away. So he goes back to Koyatur and he asks Allah that my pain didn't go away. And the response was that you didn't come to me first. You went to the asbab instead. And it wasn't the leaves that cured you, it was me who cured you. So I feel like it's not just like putting all that burden on your own self, not believing in you, but if you start believing in these inanimate things that have no power to give you these things, like you start believing in your boss, he controls the money, he might give me the promotion. I feel like that leads you in the wrong way as well. The same thing with just like medicine in general. Oh, I have a fever, let me just get Tylenol. One day it doesn't work, what then? So channeling that, like the outcome or to the correct owner of that outcome, I think it's very important too.
And I guess another example for that would be from Surah Yusuf alayhi salam's story, where he says to his prison friend, saying that remember me when you go to near your Lord, and then that friend forgets him and he stays in the prison for a little longer. So in this regard, yeah, many such things are happening in our lives.
One more example in Surah, the Surah is telling the story of the Maryam. It goes like, the creator says, shake the trunk of the palm tree, and she does, and a few palms falls, dates, a few dates falls. Every time I read this, the ayah, I always took it as she shook the trunk and the date fell, right? It's obvious. But one day during a Friday, the khutbah, the Khatib said, he was talking about this ayah, and he said, have you ever seen like a palm tree that the trunk is that big? Like, forget about you shaking it. How a lady who just gave birth, right, can shake it? There's no way, right? So I think that's a really good the explanation of how our choices work. You shake the palm tree like a trunk of the palm tree, meaning you don't do anything. You just choose. And then the dates are sent to you. It's not that your choice make it fall.
So, any? Go ahead.
The spices, so if you're living life in a way where you are uncertain of outcome, right? You do your supplication, but you don't trust that the outcome is determined, by your action or whatever. That there is that you expect, you don't have expectations of something specific. What's stopping you from being anxious all the time? Because you don't know what will happen next. It could be anything, right? You might, go drive your car and then, you put on a seatbelt to keep you safe, but that doesn't guarantee that you won't get into an accident.
I have an example. So we are in a house doing something irrelevant, like I'm working on, let's say, playing with the phone, make it more realistic. Playing with the phone, the kids are doing irrelevant things, watching cartoons, whatever. And I say, Bushra, come, I will show you something. She doesn't know what I will show. She doesn't know whether I will kidnap her and then put her in a bag, whatever. She doesn't know any of this, right? What she does? She comes with a smile. Why? She knows me. She trusts. She knows that her father, I, will call her if there is something pleasant to show her. She wouldn't say that, oh, no, I shouldn't do that. Sometimes she does, right? Not in this example, but She said, oh, no, maybe my father will show me something scary. And, yeah. Bush also does the similar stuff. Maybe he will show me something scary, I shouldn't go. She doesn't do that. It is a possibility, right? Some crazy fathers, they do. She knows me, she trusts me. The same way, if you see in the creation, again, forget about, the memorized phrases, like all merciful, all knowing, all compassionate, to the extent you see the compassion in the creation. Everything so far created in a compassionate way for me. To the extent you see that, not memorized, but really see it, bear witness, ashhadu. To the extent you witness that, everything so far being created with a wisdom for me. And there's a call, says, oh, come, what I'm going to show you with this new choice. I say, okay, let me see.
William.
That just makes me think though, like, or yeah, I know I'm not supposed to go like top down, but I know I have a all merciful, all knowing, wise creator, and everything that's gonna happen, like, I'm supposed to go there with a smile and assume the best. But what if I don't like what's best for me? Like, let's say the seatbelt thing. I'm going in the car, I get in a crash, and I suffer. But this suffering is what's gonna get me to Jannah. But I don't like suffering. I hate it. So, like, why am I still? Well, I would still feel like anxious about that suffering. Yeah.
It's good. Like this is how it is with like my students. I give them certain assignments, and some of them, like, it's hard. It's not as fun as playing PlayStation, right? Sometimes it takes 8, 10, 12, 20 hours, right? And but to the extent that they realize that what this class is teaching me, and then they try to make sense of it or try to benefit from it, they start enjoying the content as well. So what am I trying to say with this? This taste is given to you. You can take it two ways. One is, why am I not liking this? Because I was imagining a different, better situation. So this sounds, compared to this sounds unlikable to me, right? Because it might happen that if you see somebody else being worse than your condition, you start liking your condition. Like, think of it like today's food, you liked it, right? But if you were Jeff Bezos, you would say, oh, am I going to eat this poor people's food? Like, you didn't even say this. You enjoyed today's food because you always compare it with something else and then you start enjoying it, right? So this is one part of it. So the second part is, what is generally, I take it from my egocentric point of view. What I mean by this is, it doesn't give me taste of, because I'm imagining a life of fun. As my students, they're imagining college to be of a fun environment, and homework assignments are contradicting this, especially hard programming assignments. But if they try to realize that, no, why am I here? Maybe my purpose of life, the purpose that I foresee for myself, is not what it's supposed to be. If the student change their framework saying that, no, I am here to learn, and actually this assignment fits this purpose so well, then I will start enjoying that assignment. because my mindset is changing. Further, if you would like to take a third route, could be, where did this distaste coming from? Why do I dislike it? It could be a distaste because of me being arrogant, but also this taste is being created in me, disturbing me. Maybe there's something wrong, just like your toothache. Toothache is there so that you are being invited to go to the dentist, saying that go and fix this. This taste of accident is with you. So am I supposed to be distasted about this? Because as it bothers you, it's inviting you for a change. Because if this distaste was from you, you would abandon it, right? It is being given to you. Like, throw it away if you can. It's being given to you, which means your creator, now that I'm fast forwarding a little bit, whomever gives this feeling to you is saying that you have something wrong, and I would like to disturb you so that you realize and try to fix what is wrong in you. So I think in this regard, you can take this state as a invitation to check for, am I like, if you dig deeper, you will realize that I'm disliking this because such and such is eating better than me, or living in a better condition than me, or I used to be in a better condition yesterday. So I set a norm for myself, and I took it for granted as if this was supposed to be what I deserve, and now it's taken away from me. As I start reconsidering these assumptions, I think this taste is likely to go. I had very like a bad back pain for a long time. From time to time, I still have it. I know it's not easy to believe. You know, you're looking at me, you know, my athletic form and so on. But yeah, it was there for a long time, and I was really bothered with it. And because it was the time Bushra was born, I want to play with my child, but because of the back pain, you know, I cannot do it. I have to carry her. I cannot do it. It was so annoying, right? And I didn't like it. Nobody would like it. I'm trying everything. Some of them works to some extent, some of them don't. And I'm getting more and more annoyed every day. And it's taking too long, like a few years we're talking about. One day, I'm either driving or I'm in the passenger seat, I don't remember. But I was looking outside, and there's a billboard. And because, you know, the Philadelphia is a big, the medical corporation, the entire city, like city works so hard so that we become unhealthy. And then we go to hospital, pay. Anyway, all billboards are mostly about, you know, the hospitals, medications, etc. There's a gentleman, old guy, not like me, maybe like husband. We have to find someone who's older than you in this discussion. That's the rule, sorry. Just 1 year difference. There's a gentleman in the billboard, the old guy, playing basketball with young folks, right? And he's enjoying it. And the ad goes like something pain, I don't remember, like a knee pain. Knee pain, question mark, you don't deserve it, right? And then the hospital, you go there and they fix it. That's the ad. I looked at it. Back pain, you don't deserve it. I said, yes, that's it. I don't deserve it. That's how I thought all these years, and I was not aware of this. Before it was, oh, I cannot, you know, carry my child. I cannot help I cannot help my wife, etc.
But deep inside, the real reason was I don't deserve it. I'm a young guy, not that old, right? I have a good body, right? Not that bad. Everything is, for my, let's say, golden age. And this back pain, I don't deserve it. That was the reason of this annoyance. I just realized. And then it changed its shape, right? The annoyance was there. It is created, like you cannot control how you will feel. The feeling of annoyance was created for me. I took it for one way before. I said, oh, it's a call for curing myself, like going to doctor, whatever. That's the reason the annoyance was created. But the real reason to realize that I really think I deserve something. I have to give in health because of my age, the way I eat, the way I exercise, whatever. The health has to be given to me. That's what I deserve. And instead, an accident or back pain is given to me. I say I don't deserve it. Once I realize that, I start, istighfar. I said, oh, my Creator, forgive me. I took it for wrong. And then it didn't go away immediately. From time to time, I still have it, but at least it doesn't give me, this annoyance anymore. It's a hardship. And I say, okay, this is the way I will live going forward. At least it will remind me something every moment. This ad, I will never forget.
Jazakallah khairan. So in the remaining 6 minutes, I would just like to maybe highlight something that the author is concluding with. So he brings the topic to, he already said nothing other than the choices at my hand, and let's forego this choice as well. And we talked about what does it mean to forego this choice. He concludes with the last paragraph. I'm just reading the last paragraph. The all-generous Creator buys his own property from you and gives you the high price of paradise in return. And also he looks after that property well for you and increases its value. And he will return to you in both enduring and perfect form. O my soul, do not delay, do this trade which is profitable in 5 respects, and be saved from 5 losses, make a 5-fold profit all at once. Now he expanded the idea. He said, what was left to your hand was choice. And we talked about how we give it back to the Creator. But then he said, your Creator is trying to buy all your property from you. What are those other property that's given to you? Apparently given to you. This is why he says, all generous Creator. You are given eyes and ears and mouth and all those qualities. They are given to you as a trust. In the same way you forego your choice, like the meaning of your choice has changed, yet you didn't give away your choice. Still you're making a choice, but the nature of it changed. Apply the same to other qualities that are given to you. Give your eyes to your Creator. Give your ears to your Creator. Give your mind to your Creator. Your dreams, your ambitions. These are all given to you. Give them back to your Creator. What does this mean? Let's apply it back in the light of what we discussed so far. Giving your choice back to the Creator meant the meaning of choice is changing. It's not becoming a supplication. It's becoming a tool with which I get to know my Creator. This is what choice became. Use your eyes so that your eyes becomes a tool with which you get to know your Creator. use your ears so that it becomes. So today, the example, we were discussing this at another place, but a quick example since it's fresh in my mind. Looking at a baby, you can look at the baby and say that, oh, she is so cute, and she took those eyes from his father. Like colorful eyes, colorful eyes. This is how we tend to say it.
You want to check after the discussion.
So, like, I am making an observation, but I sold my observation to nature because it's in his father's nature to have colorful eyes, which carried over to the baby. So I betrayed the trust. The trust was given to me so that I look at it from a wisdom point of view. Rather, if I were to say that, look, whomever painted his father's eyes also painted this daughter's eyes. Both of them are coming from the same brush. Both has the same creator. I'm looking at the same eyes, but my perspective is different now. Use the same with your ears, use the same with all your feelings. So living in a life, and in this case, like when you sell your eyes to the creator is not taking away your eyes, still they are going to stay there. He allows you to keep using it for the rest of your life, but the value of these eyes are increasing. Otherwise, I would use these eyes for just momentary joys and whatnot. Now I'm using these eyes to, as now author is highlighting it here, he gives you the high price of paradise in return. Like once you get this eye of wisdom or looking in the name of Allah, then you start seeing the same brush everywhere. Oh, the same brush not only paints father and daughter's eyes, it's actually painting everything in this universe. It is the same brush. Then this gives you the security that we have been talking about. What worry is going to be left for you? Because you're worried about what's going to be the color of future for you. Are you going to become successful, unsuccessful? Are you going to have white hair like him or not so white hair like? So then your worries disappear. You said, however he paints beautiful. So eternal paradise starts happening in here in exchange of selling this property to its true owner. Any concluding remarks?
If for instance, if you're observing paintings of famous the painter, you wouldn't say that, oh, it is green or red or blue. This is beautiful, but like it's black now, it's not beautiful. You would say, oh, Rembrandt, he uses, the dark colors so brilliantly. If you see it that way, everything there becomes artful, right? Because it's coming from the all artful creator, the painter, Rembrandt. See yourself as an artwork. And if you look at the mirror and see black eyes, you say, oh, the one who paints my eyes uses black so beautifully. And you don't make a comparison with someone with the blue eyes and say, no, this is better. Black here, beautiful. Blue there, beautiful.
Jazakumullah khairan.
I'm just giving you, something to hold.
Alhamdulillah. So any concluding remarks? We are at 8:45 exactly. Let's conclude here, inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة